Hello everyone, welcome back and welcome to another video here on this channel. Today we are looking at the final episode of the Hangar-Showdown Guide for now. So stay tuned, it's going to be exciting. Great to have you with us again. In Hangar Showdown, we have a few seconds before the round begins to coordinate our mech selection with our teammate. That's exactly what today is about. Which combinations work best together? This video will take a little longer, so sit back and enjoy. Hemlock works especially well thanks to its ECM shot with fast mechs that can quickly reach the enemy and eliminate them while they are stunned. This includes Eclipse, Surge, Nomad, Seeker, and Deathwalker. All of them can reach the enemy quickly and use the time provided by Hemlock to take opponents out of the game. Nomad is a good backup thanks to its agility, speed, and damage reduction, and it actually works fairly well in combination with almost any mech. It performs best when paired with Surge, Hemlock, Eclipse, and Deathwalker. Nomad is vulnerable to mechs that generate debuffs, especially Surge, so you should always play him a bit more defensively and wait for the right moment to use him effectively. Deathwalker is a tank with a huge amount of hit points, high energy capacity, and impressive speed when his ability is active. If he is destroyed while his ability is active, he simply respawns and even regains some of the hit points he had lost. He works especially well in combination with Surge, Eclipse, Parasite, and Hemlock. Thanks to his ability, he can perfectly outplay opponents and even correct mistakes you or your team might make. Similar to Hemlock, Surge is able to immobilize enemies with an EMP debuff. This gives allied mechs the opportunity to quickly step in and take the opponent out of the game. Nomad, Eclipse, Deathwalker, or Seeker work especially well with Surge, as they are particularly effective at eliminating enemies quickly before the EMP debuff wears off. Eclipse is fast, agile, and immune to EMP debuffs. This allows it to face almost any enemy mech. It works especially well with mechs that generate EMP debuffs, such as Surge. But Nomad, Hemlock, or Parasite also pair nicely with it. They synergize so well with Eclipse because they either bring enormous destructive potential or their EMP debuff slows down the enemy, while Eclipse itself cannot be slowed. In one part of the Showdown Guide series, where we talked about what the perfect setup for Hangar Showdown looks like, I described Nomad as a flexible option and listed 3 alternative mechs that can also be played effectively instead of Nomad. And now we're going to take a closer look at those alternatives. Lacewing can be played very well on some of the Showdown maps. During its jumps, it's often difficult to hit unless the enemy is using homing weapons. Even Hemlock's ECM shot often misses it while in the air. It synergizes best with Surge or Hemlock, but it can also be played solidly in combination with many other mechs. Solus's ability to blind enemies, combined with its short cooldown and the fact that you get 2 flash grenades per cycle, makes him a dangerous opponent in the showdown. Unfortunately, he's powerless against Eclipse, but for all other mechs, he can become a serious problem if played correctly. Seeker, Nomad, Eclipse, and Surge are the best partners for Solus and should be used alongside him in the Hangar Showdown. Parasite can redirect a large portion of incoming damage to a linked enemy using his redirect ability, partially disabling them in the process. This makes him effective alongside almost any mech, especially Deathwalker, Soulless, Surge, and Eclipse. However, beware of mechs like Outlaw, as they can pose a real threat to him. All the mechs we've talked about so far are among the best choices for the Hangar Showdown. However, if you don't own any of these mechs, I've got 3 alternatives for you that might not be optimal, but at least they're not bad either. Vortex, for example. Equipped with strong close-range weapons and his nanobot field, he can be quite helpful here and there. You should play him alongside other aggressive brawlers like Eclipse, Nomad, or Surge. Dreadnought. He's a powerhouse that works well with both close and mid-range weapons. He can take a lot of damage, and his ability deals solid damage as well. He's an all-rounder who synergizes nicely with many other mechs. And finally, we have Seeker. He can teleport behind enemies using his warp ability, though he's relatively easy to counter if you know how. Still, depending on which mechs your opponents have chosen, he can work quite well. The best teammates for him are Hemlock, Surge, Dreadnought, or Soulless. However, you should only use these mechs if you don't own either the originally recommended ones or the ones suggested as alternatives for Nomad. I hope this episode helped me wrap up the series in an informative way and gave you at least the theoretical tools to improve your gameplay. We'll see each other in another video. Until then, take care.